Danielle Gates became a familiar name to millions of viewers through TLC's hit reality series 90 Day Fiancé, where her relationship, personality, and life choices were placed under a microscope. What initially appeared to be a story about love, cultural differences, and personal reinvention has gradually evolved into something far more controversial. Behind the scenes of reality television fame, allegations have emerged that suggest Danielle may have left the United States while carrying an enormous financial burden and alleged debt totaling approximately $124,000. As these claims continue to circulate online, fans, critics, and commentators are asking the same question. Is this a story of personal growth or a scandal rooted in financial avoidance? From the beginning, Danielle's storyline stood out. She was presented as confident, outspoken, and determined to live life on her own terms. Her decision to pursue a relationship with Johan and eventually relocate to the Dominican Republic was framed as a bold move toward happiness and freedom. She often spoke about escaping the pressures of life in New York City, embracing spirituality, and redefining success beyond money and materialism. To many viewers, this narrative felt inspiring. To others, it raised red flags, especially when financial conflicts repeatedly surfaced throughout her time on the show. Money was never a minor issue in Danielle's storyline, it was central. Arguments about expenses, expectations, and control over finances became recurring themes. Danielle often portrayed herself as financially knowledgeable, while simultaneously expressing anxiety over costs and income. This contradiction puzzled viewers at the time. Few imagined that the reality behind those concerns could be so serious. It wasn't until after her relocation that online investigators and fan communities began piecing together a far more troubling picture. According to reports shared across blogs, forums, and social media platforms, Danielle allegedly accumulated a large amount of unpaid debt in the United States prior to leaving the country. The figure most frequently cited to $124,000 includes claims of unpaid rent, credit card balances, toll violations, and legal judgments. While not all sources agree on the exact breakdown, the consistency of the total amount has fueled intense speculation. For many fans, the idea that a reality TV star could leave behind such a massive financial obligation was shocking. What intensified the backlash was the contrast between these Legations and Danielle's public image after moving abroad. On social media, she frequently shares content showcasing a peaceful, seemingly carefree lifestyle. Beachside views, yoga sessions, motivational quotes, and spiritual messaging dominate her online presence. To critics, this lifestyle appears incompatible with someone who may owe hundreds of thousands of dollars. They argue that presenting an image of abundance and enlightenment, while allegedly leaving debts unresolved, sends a misleading and ethically questionable message. Supporters, however, urge caution. They emphasize that allegations circulating online are not the same as legal convictions. Debt records can be misunderstood, misreported, or exaggerated, especially when gathered from multiple sources without official confirmation. They also argue that financial hardship is more common than many realize, and that public shaming rarely captures the full context of someone's situation. From this perspective, Danielle's story is not about scandal, but about a flawed individual navigating a complex and painful chapter of life. Under public scrutiny still, questions persist. Why leave the country at all if these debts existed? Financial experts note that overwhelming debt can create immense psychological stress, For some individuals, relocation feels like the only way to breathe again, to escape constant pressure from bills, collectors, and legal threats. But experts are also clear that debt does not simply vanish when someone crosses a border. Unpaid obligations can follow individuals for years, damaging credit, triggering legal consequences, and limiting future opportunities. Danielle has addressed financial rumors only indirectly in various interviews and social media posts. She has acknowledged making mistakes and learning hard lessons, but she often frames these experiences within a broader narrative of personal awakening. She speaks about rejecting toxic systems, embracing non-traditional paths, and prioritizing inner peace over societal expectations. To supporters, this language reflects genuine growth. To critics, it sounds like an attempt to reframe irresponsibility as enlightenment. The Dominican Republic plays a symbolic role in this controversy. For Danielle, it represents freedom, simplicity, and a lower cost of living. She has repeatedly stated that life there allows her to live more authentically. Critics counter that lower living costs can also make it easier to avoid confronting past obligations. This perception has led to accusations that she didn't just move for love or self-discovery, but to distance herself from financial consequences. Her relationship with Johan adds another layer of complexity. Throughout the show, financial tension between them was evident. Johan often expressed frustration about money, while Danielle maintained control over finances and decision-making. Some viewers now speculate that her alleged financial instability influenced these dynamics more than was revealed on camera. If true, this would reframe many of their conflicts, suggesting that money issues were not just marital disagreements, but symptoms of deeper problems. This controversy also raises broader questions about reality television itself. Shows like 90 Day Fiancé thrive on dramatic storytelling, but they rarely explore the long-term real-world consequences faced by participants. Cast members are often edited into simplified roles: the villain, the hero, the dreamer, while complex realities are left off-screen. In Danielle's case, critics argue that viewers were encouraged to see her as empowered and self-assured, without understanding the full scope of her financial situation. Legally speaking, leaving the United States with debt is not a crime. However, unresolved debts can have lasting effects. Judgments can accumulate interest, credit scores can be destroyed, and returning to the U.S. can become financially and legally complicated. For a public figure, these consequences are amplified by reputational damage and constant online attention. Every new post, appearance, or interview becomes an opportunity for renewed criticism. As of now, Daniele Gates has not publicly released detailed documentation addressing the full extent of the $224,000 debt allegation. This lack of clarity keeps the story alive, suspended between allegation and confirmation. For critics, silence suggests avoidance. For supporters, it represents a refusal to engage with internet speculation and harassment. In the absence of definitive answers, the narrative continues to evolve through commentary rather than concrete facts. At its core, this scandal touches on universal themes: accountability, reinvention, and the cost of starting over. Can someone truly build a new life without fully addressing the old one? Is personal growth meaningful if it leaves others bearing the consequences? And how much transparency does the public have the right to demand from someone who chose to live their life on reality television? Daniele Gates' story may never have a clear ending. The alleged debt may be resolved privately, legally challenged, or remain an unresolved chapter that fades from public attention. But the impact on her public image is undeniable. Once seen primarily as a reality TV personality navigating love and culture, she is now also viewed through the lens of financial controversy and ethical debate. In the end, this is not just a story about money. It is about how narratives are constructed, how audiences react when those narratives unravel, and how difficult it is to escape the past no matter how far one travels. Whether Danielle Gates is remembered as someone who ran from responsibility or someone who struggled, stumbled, and tried to rebuild will depend not only on facts, but on perspective. And in the world of reality television, perspective is often the most powerful force of all.